Kentucky's Voice is your home for real news, real people, and real answers. But we can't do it without you. Your financial support helps us bring truth to the forefront, hold leaders accountable, and give a voice to the people of the Commonwealth. Join the fight today. Give online at kyvoice.org or text KYVoice to 53555. Every gift makes a difference. Stand with us. Speak up. Stay strong. You are Kentucky's voice.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
Open borders, shameful abandonment, disregard for human life, the prospect of more mandates and lockdowns, and the list goes on. Now more than ever, we need to stick together. Voting alone is not enough. We must use our dollars to support like-minded companies that fight for our rights and beliefs. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. Last year, we gave more than $500,000 to conservative causes. With your support, we'll give more than $1.5 million this year. It's time to band together and support companies that truly love America and fight for our freedoms. Will you join us?
Kentucky's Voice is your home for real news, real people, and real answers. But we can't do it without you. Your financial support helps us bring truth to the forefront, hold leaders accountable, and give a voice to the people of the Commonwealth. Join the fight today. Give online at kyvoice.org or text KYVoice to 53555. Every gift makes a difference. Stand with us. Speak up. Stay strong. You are Kentucky's voice.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
Open borders, shameful abandonment, disregard for human life, the prospect of more mandates and lockdowns, and the list goes on. Now more than ever, we need to stick together. voting alone is not enough. We must use our dollars to support like-minded companies that fight for our rights and beliefs. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. Last year, we gave more than $500,000 to conservative causes. With your support, we'll give more than $1.5 million this year. It's time to band together and support companies that truly love America and fight for our freedoms. Will you join us?
This is Kentucky's Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters.
And welcome, everybody, to Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host for the day, Andrew Cooperrider, but it's not just me. You're getting two great hits with you. Jim Waters is joining us today as well.
I won't tell how much I paid for you to say that.
Well, you know, Jim, you're a great man. Speaking of pay,
it's great to be here. Yes.
While we're on the subject of money, to be clear here at Kentucky's Voice, we are a nonprofit bringing to you the news all around Kentucky. But in order to do that, we need your support, because today we'll be digging into some interesting Supreme Court cases going on around school choice, but that brings back school choice here in Kentucky. And as you all know, there was a fight on that recently that the legacy media was able to dominate and change the outcome of, and we have got to battle against that. So please, if you want to go ahead and partner with us in order to make sure those kinds of things stop, that the legacy media doesn't have control over the narrative, the next fight we have on school choice in Kentucky, please make sure you donate to us. Give today. Go ahead and text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, GIVE, to 502-571-0970. If you text the word GIVE, you'll go ahead and get a link where you can make your pledge. Also, you can visit www.kyvoice.org, because when it comes to these important fights, really, they are bringing out all the stops against us. And we are failing here in Kentucky to make sure the masses are educated from a Christian and conservative point of view. They're not educated from the conservative point of view of knowing exactly what the effects are. We've seen this also with the amendment on abortion. That was just reaffirming something that was already in our Constitution. That also lost here in Kentucky, and it's because of how the media grabs a hold of it. And it's not just how they cover things, but the way they cover things. And the way we're covering things across the state in our legacy media is not in a conservative light. That's why we're here to make a difference. But once again, this is expensive. There's a reason why those media empires are able to be so far slanted left in a conservative state, because the people paying the piper, I said this Monday, the person who pays the piper picks the tune. The people paying the piper, they aren't you. They're not conservatives. They're liberals trying to push forward this crazy agenda, and they want to remain in control of our government systems, even when we vote in Republicans. That's why you have got to donate to what we're doing here, because it helps us spread the word across the state. So once again, you're going to want to text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can give online, kyvoice.org. It's our fall fundraiser, We the People Fall Fundraiser, because we have got to be bringing this kind of information to the forefront. We have got to be bringing this to the masses, and we've also got to be digging into these stories and fighting back. I mean, we'll dig into school choice here in a little bit, but there's all kinds of stories happening at the time of school districts using your tax money, your funds, to fight against what's in the best interest of Kentuckians. We see government entities doing that all across the state. They steal money out of your pocket, and then they use it to fight against you. And if we don't start fighting back, if we don't start pushing back, this will continue to happen. That's why you've got to be helping us out here and partnering with us at Kentucky's Voice. We're a nonprofit. We don't do this to line our pockets. We're doing this because we believe in the cause. Please join us in doing so. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, GIVE, to 502-571-0970. Once again, that's 572-571-0970. You can also go to KY, like our state, KY, the initials, voice.org, and go ahead and donate to us today because frankly, you can give monthly, you can give one time. We need your support. We've got to fight back on this. I'm Andrew Cooper-Ryder, joined by Jim Waters today.
Don't let apathy or procrastination be our enemy today.
That's right. Crack open that wallet. Pull it out of your pocket. I don't
do
care
it now.
where you are.
Do it now.
Pull over. Pull over to the side of the road. Open up the wallet. Make the donation. That's right. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Visit kyvoice.org. We'll be back in a few short seconds here with the rest of our program.
Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
The We the People Fall fundraiser is going on now. Learn how you can partner with us this week live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. Together, we will stand for faith, family, freedom, and the Kentucky way. Do not miss it.
And you're back here with Andrew Cooper-Ryder, joined by my fellow host, Jim Waters on the day.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It is our fall fundraiser, though.
Yeah, and it's important. You know, if it means anything to you, if it's important to you that you get news covered and analysis from a conservative, common sense, Christian point of view, you have to invest. You have to step up. And we need people to step up today. We need some $1,000 gifts, but maybe you can't do that. Maybe you can we're asking folks to do $29 a month. Do something.
Absolutely.
If everybody does something.
And how can they do that, Jim?
And they can do that by donating to you can text donate or give to 502-571-0970.
Yep.
And you can also go to kyvoice.org.
So text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. You can also give online, kyvoice.org. Jim, how horrible are the people who don't want to donate?
Well, the thing is, here's how I look at that. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain about who gets elected.
Okay.
If you don't invest, you don't have a right to complain when there's not a conservative media outlet that you can turn to and trust. And so the return on investment here is pretty good, really. And I think this is part of our responsibility. And you mentioned educating people. And, our media really doesn't do that here on Kentucky Issues. There's a lot of people who don't know much about what's happening. And so this is a great opportunity, too. We're not just scolding you today. We're also exhorting you.
I will scold you into...
We'll let you scold.
Into donating to the nonprofit Kentucky's Voice,
Right.
Because I believe in what we're doing.
Right, exactly.
You got to crack open that wallet.
Yeah, sometimes you have to scold.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to. But look, step up and do it. Just step up. And you can, set it up on a monthly basis, and
$20 a month, $30 a month.
Do $29 a month. We're asking folks to do $29 a month.
If you're feeling fancy, $100 a month.
$100, maybe.
If you really like us, 500, 1,000. What's the limit?
Well, I'm worth more than that, but 1,000 at least. So.
And how can they give again? That's by texting the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Visit kyvoice.org.
$29 a month, Andrew, is less than $1 a day.
It is less.
We're here every day.
Unless it's February.
We're here. Well, unless it's sleep. If it's leap year, it's exactly
$1 a day. Yeah.
But look, for less than $1 a day, you're going to get Kentucky's Voice on the air every day. We'd like to expand this. We'd like to do more. We want to do some debates with political candidates. We want to do some polling.
I was
want to do
talking
some
about that
important
Monday.
things.
Like
Yes.
our in the primaries,
Right.
our big radio debate is hosted by KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio, which if you listen to them for your sports, okay. But those are Democrats, literally.
Yeah.
Matt Jones wrote a whole book about how he is running as a Democrat for the Senate.
Too many times the conservatives don't step up and give. They don't invest like the left does. The left invests. They give big dollars. George Soros and the whole crowd give big dollars. It's time for those on the center-right side of the aisle to step up and give. 502-571-0970. Text GIVE to 502-571-0970.
And
or
if we have just
go to
5
kyvoice.org.
people
Yeah.
give, just 5 people give, I will give each of those people a crisp high five. They'll have to text their address or something. I don't know. We'll send them signed headshots. That's real value. But we need 5 people to go ahead and
Well, the way
donate.
this is going to grow, it's going to be even more valuable.
Yeah,
it's going to be
that's
like
right. That's
baseball
an
cards
investment.
in the future. Yeah.
Into your future. Get a signed photograph of Jim Waters. Text the word GIVE to
And
502.
in return for that, you get news coverage, analysis with no filter, no spin, just truth. So if you care about values and safety and protecting America, which we talked a lot about on here as well, this is your opportunity to say, I want this to continue. We need to have this happen in our state.
Absolutely. And so text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970, 0970. You can visit kyvoice.org. And, really great example of why we need to be doing this goes into the school choice amendment fight that happened in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, the media apparatus, the taxpayer-funded apparatuses like our local schools definitely castigated that amendment. They did the same thing to pro-life, too. The same thing in the pro-life amendment of convincing the populace to vote against their best interests because they can control the spin. There's nobody here like us sharing that information. That has to change. We need 5 people donating. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970 because there is an important Supreme Court case moving.
It's going to be heard tomorrow.
Right now. It's going to be heard tomorrow
in Danville because they're remodeling the Capitol. So it's going to be heard down there. I'll be there. We'll talk about it on Friday, but I can do that because you give. I can.
This
be
is
here.
a state Supreme Court.
This is the
case.
Kentucky Supreme Court. They've sat on this case for over a year. We made it very difficult for them to say no to this. I think we're going to get a win out of this. I hope we do. But because of this show, because of the investment that's been made to this point, we can be here on Friday to tell you what happened down there and to really do a full analysis of it. So we need you to step up. And by the way, if you give today, 502-571-0970, text us on our Kentucky's Voice text line. And same number, 502-571-0970, and say, hey, I gave. We'd like to hear from you. Just if that's all you want to say, just text us and say, I gave, I supported this, I believe in it.
I would also like compliments. If you could text compliments.
Well,
say, I gave you money, Andrew, because you're just so wonderful.
Yeah,
and I love you.
I really don't care if you do that or not, but go ahead.
Well, you have a better self-esteem than I do, Jim.
You're fine.
So,
you're fine. No, let's do it.
That's what I need.
We should all hear that. But look, the important thing here is that from 11 to noon normally we're here every day, and that takes an investment by somebody. That takes somebody to step up and do it. And if you can do $29 a month, I mean, that's less than $1 a day. Give up your Starbucks and do the gas station coffee instead.
Anyways. Yeah. Too liberal anyways. What are you still doing going to Starbucks? Do you
well,
hate yourself?
they're not as liberal as Heine Brothers, I don't think.
Oh, Heine Brothers pretty awful, right? That's Bashir's favorite coffee
Well, their coffee's
place.
not as good anyhow.
So if you're a listener and you go to Heine Brothers, aptly named Heine Brothers.
If we just think we could eventually have a Kentucky's Voice coffee brand here if we
Listen,
get
let's not get out over our skis, okay? That's my realm of expertise, all right? So
that's right, it is, yeah.
I have a coffee brand. Anyways, but Bashir goes to Heinz Brothers Coffee. Yeah. That tells you it's horrible. He has bad taste in everything, right?
And that's part of the Amendment 2 fight we had was he dominated the airwaves. The media gave him a pass. They didn't ask him tough questions about this. He brought in radical teachers union heads, and he was able to get by with it because there wasn't enough pushback from the right. And that's what we want to do. With your giving, with your help, with your investment, we can push back at times like this. We can be ready at key times like this. We can't wait until that happens to raise these funds. We've got to have that investment now. And, many of us have committed to this project and to doing it. So we need you to step up and be a part of this. It's a partnership. This has got to be a partnership. It's not us just sitting here doing this somehow. It's not one person writing a big check. If you can do that, we'd love to have that.
I mean, we're not going to turn it down.
No, we're not. But I think mostly this is going to be folks who listen, believe, who are part of this listening audience. And 502-571-0970.
And we'll be digging into that state Supreme Court case, exactly what the arguments will be, that impact on it. Right now, we're just talking about fundraising because so often, if when we have these fights, like we had the amendment fight on the school choice, or we had the amendment fight on abortion, we're trying to piece together apparatuses to get the information out just for that fight, and that costs money.
We're talking about fundraising when we talk about investing and fighting back against this. That's why we're doing this. So that has to be part of the conversation. But without our partners, we can't do that.
Well, and instead of spending millions on every single fight trying to gain back ground from the left is always fundraising. They're constantly pushing. They're constantly working it in. I mean, we talked about Soros. Soros is putting together all kinds of apparatuses in order to collect up information, in order to make sure he can shape cultural beliefs. I mean, for example, change.org, owned by Soros, in order to collect up information from people so they can alter what you think. And they're able to do that because they have that financial backing. And if we as conservatives don't, and we're a little bit different, right? We need support from you, the people, because we do not believe in government. We believe in, let me be clear. We do not believe in government doing things for people.
This project is not funded by government funding. This is going to be funded by individuals who believe in the conservative media voice.
And the people who give millions of dollars, they're doing it because typically they profit off of it somehow. And they're profiting by using government to pilfer your pockets. And that's why
our partners are going to profit in a different way.
Yeah,
they're going to get conservative take on the media, on news, analysis, opinion every day.
Well, it's going to benefit them directly. So go ahead and give. Text the word give to 502-571-0970. Text the word give, 502-571-0970. When we come back, we'll be discussing that school choice Supreme Court case being heard tomorrow here in Kentucky. We'll be back in a few short minutes.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
Back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
The We the People Fall fundraiser is going on now. Learn how you can partner with us this week live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. Together, we will stand for faith, family, freedom, and the Kentucky way. Do not miss it.
And welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. That's right. It's the fall fundraiser. That means you need to be texting GIVE to 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. Make your pledges today. We got 9 minutes in this segment. It'd be great if some of y'all could crack open that wallet. Go ahead and open it up and give to us, because we've got a major fight brewing on school choice. It's not secret, Jim, that the schools here have been raising taxes and delivering horrible results. We got to make a difference. You can help. Text GIVE 502-571-0970. You can also join into the conversation by texting your messages, your thoughts, to 502-571-0970. Not just giving. You can also just tell me how much you like me. But we have the Supreme Court case that we're going.
What you think about? Yeah, this is so the Kentucky Supreme Court tomorrow will hear lawsuit that was brought against a funding bill that our legislature passed. It was a good bill that would have opened the door to funding public charter schools here. And Andrew, these are simply different kinds of public schools. These are public schools, but they're run differently.
Jim, what makes a charter school?
A charter school is an autonomous school. In other words, they have their own board, their own charter. They're not beholden to the rules and regulations of the district in large part. They're not beholden to the teachers' unions, to a collective bargaining agreement, to a contract. They make their own decisions. But they are like a public school? They are a public school. They're publicly funded. They're held accountable. They do the public testing assessments. They're held accountable. And in many places across the country, they're outperforming traditional public schools, especially with low-income minority kids. So here in Louisville, we have a real issue with that.
Now, I've heard, though, that charter schools, if you know, you watch the fight we had, what was it, last year on school choice here in Kentucky, dominated by the liberal media putting all kinds of spin on it, which is why, once again, please donate. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970, so we can fight back against that. But they told me, Jim, that charter schools were no good, dirty, rotten cesspools of evil that will just take advantage of children. Jim, is that accurate?
Well, it's not only accurate, it's nonsense. It's not based on any kind of fact at all. 58% of the kids in charter schools in America, which 3.7 million kids today going to a charter school, are low-income minority kids whose lives are being changed by this. And so we have an opportunity here in Kentucky to do this, but the truth has to get out. The Bluegrass Institute, my organization, has printed a frequently asked questions document. You can get it on our website today, bluegrassinstitute.org. Download it. It's a one-pager. It has every question about public charter schools, what they are, how they operate, how they're different than traditional K through 12 schools, who they serve.
So charter school comes together. How does one get their student into a charter school if it comes to?
So these are public schools. These are first come, first serve, and so they can't charter schools. Unlike what you've been told by the media and by our governor, charter schools have to accept everybody who apply, whether that's a child with a disability, whether that's a child that's had learning issues. It's first come, first serve. It is a truly public school. Now, once those seats are full, then there's a waiting list, and in many states there are waiting lists for charter schools.
Now, one of the spins from the liberal media, once again, something we're fighting against here at Kentucky Voice. Make sure you are cracking open that wallet. Open it up. Come on, tightwads. Donate. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can go to kyvoice.org. We here at Kentucky's Voice, we are a nonprofit, so we need your support. But one of the things that the liberal media tells us is that these schools get to pick and choose who they have in. They only have much better results than these public schools because they're only picking the best people. But Jim, you just said something that kind of challenges that.
It's not true. There's not a single law. We have 45 charter school laws in America. 45 states with charter school laws. Kentucky's the only state that has a law but no charter schools. And every one of those laws, it's first come, first serve. So it's wrong. Now, our magnet schools is interesting because we do have schools who pick and choose. Our magnet schools in Louisville, for example, they have an admittance process that allows them to deny enrollment to kids who apply, some kids who apply who don't meet their standards. But charter schools cannot do that. So if we're allowing that with magnet schools in our K-12 system, why aren't we allowing this innovative, creative way of doing public education? And it's just a different way of doing it. And so if we're going to say that we can't ever do anything different, we're never going to get any different results. We talk about results on this show, and that's why we're able to do that, because people give. We do that. We've talked a lot about educational results here, and if you want to keep hearing the truth about that, let's hear from you today. 502-571-0970.
So they've sat on this case for a year.
Yeah, the Supreme Court has, yeah. It was challenged by a group of superintendents.
What was their problem with it? What does the bill say? What's their issue?
The bill would simply allow charter schools to be funded using a portion of the funding that's now available for kids in K through 12 schools. And the superintendents they don't want any change. They don't want any competition. They don't
Jim,
want
it's not
different.
just competition, it's power, because you said it earlier. Charter schools are independent of the normal public school system. Yeah. They are held accountable, but they're independent. Right. So the superintendents, that's if 500 kids go to a charter school, that's 500 kids the superintendent doesn't get to control.
Yeah, and plus they're concerned about that, and I think that's right. I think that's an issue. And the fact is that we need something. It'd be different if 2 out of 3 of our kids were learning well in public schools, but it's only 1 out of 3. That's not acceptable.
That's assuming when you look at those results and you see only 1/3 of kids are proficient in reading, that it's the same 1/3 that are only proficient in math too as well.
Yeah. Well, we've seen across the country. I guess the thing is, one of the arguments that superintendents have used is that this will destroy public education as we know it. And if that were the case, then charter schools have been around in America since 1992. If it was going to destroy public education systems, we would have seen that in all these states that have charter schools. I mean, just in the 7 states around Kentucky, we have 225,000 kids today that are going to a charter school.
Well,
their public education systems are improving, not declining.
Well, let's say, for sake of an argument, it does destroy the public schools. Is that something that's going really well for everybody in Kentucky?
The question should be, what are charter schools that are succeeding? What are they doing that we need to learn from? And that's what the K-12 system is, very arrogant. People who run that, the educrats, the bureaucrats, the politicians, they don't ever stop to say, what is it? We should focus on improving education for students and not protecting a failing system. And that's what this board here in Louisville has done. That's what's happened here.
Well, and speaking of arrogance, I mean, we know down in Lexington, there's all kinds of issues. What's interesting about that, and I talked about this Monday, and it points to how important what we're doing here at Kentucky's Voice is. This is why you need to text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. I got 2 minutes left in this segment. So let's try to get some of you all in here with your pledges, with your donations. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. And because in Lexington right now, there's all kinds of issues broiling about. There's tax increases. We're finding $10 million, $12 million, $13 million missing here, missing there, money being spent without authorization. And what really brought the microscope there was when citizens working together, conservative citizens working together with people here at Kentucky's Voice, for an example, came and was able to shine a light on exactly what was going on there.
That's right.
The media wasn't covering it.
Which couldn't have happened.
We were here. We were covering it.
Right.
People saw it, and they started to ask some questions about what are you spending money on. Yeah. That's why you got to be texting the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. We've got to have eyes on these groups to hold them truly accountable. Now, we will dig into exactly what the bill pass says, and then what their arguments are against it, and what that case exactly is here in a little bit. You're listening to Kentucky's Voice. It's our fall fundraiser. We want you to reach down into those pockets and donate to what we're doing here. You can visit kyvoice.org. Once again, that's kyvoice.org. Text the word GIVE 502-571-0970. And help what we're doing here to spread the word. You can be a part of it. You can call yourself a partner with us in that case. We'll be back in a few short minutes.
Back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
The We the People Fall fundraiser is going on now. Learn how you can partner with us this week live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. Together, we will stand for faith, family, freedom, and the Kentucky way. Do not miss it.
That's right. It's the fall fundraiser. It's everybody's favorite time of year where I ask you for money, and I do it unabashedly because I believe in what we're doing here. So please make sure you're texting the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, just like you're going to do today. You're going to give at 502
It's a great
571
four-letter word.
Yeah, give, right? 502-571-0970.
We only do this twice a year, Andrew. This is not something we do all the time.
Do ask for money?
Yeah, I mean, this is twice a year we're doing a push for this. So this is your opportunity.
Look, I ask for money all the time.
Well, Kentucky's Voice as a official fundraiser.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, we are a nonprofit.
You can ask
here.
for it.
I ask for it. I don't get it often, but this is going to change today because we have a nonprofit here, Kentucky's Voice, that we're supporting. So go ahead, text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE. You can give $20 a month, $30 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month. You can give one time. You could be my personal hero today and give $1,000. We got 10 minutes here in the segment. If you're going to be that hero, do it now. And you might hear me yell yippee on the radio. That's very exciting
let us know.
for people.
Let us know, 502-571-0970. Send us a text. Just say, I gave.
Yeah.
Be great to hear.
We would appreciate it. So Kentucky Supreme Court hearing this case going on. So we talked a little bit about the superintendents brought this case to the Kentucky Supreme Court saying, hey, we don't like this law. Now, what specifically? The law just was allowing charter schools or allowed a funding mechanism?
Well, in 2017, the legislature passed a law allowing them at the time. So last year, or 2022, really, they passed House Bill 9, which funds charter schools. And the same group that's opposed every school choice bill we've had, the same group of superintendents whose school districts are failing by and large to educate a majority of their kids, are fighting in court. And as you said earlier, using taxpayer dollars to oppose the interest of taxpayers. I mean, that's what we've got going on here. And so this needs to be exposed. And that's what we're doing here. This is an opportunity to expose some of that nonsense.
And so how do they bring the argument to the Supreme Court? I mean, why is this a court? They passed a law. Right. The legislature makes laws. Why would this be challenged?
Well,
how can it be challenged?
Their argument is that charter schools are not common schools, which our 1891 Constitution had, that the legislature had to fund common schools. But the fact is, our Constitution allows the legislature to fund whatever they decide they need to fund out of the general fund. At that time, there was a separate fund set up to fund public education. That's no longer the case. And so constitutionally, our argument is it doesn't matter whether they're common schools or not. If the legislature decides we need this in our state, they can fund it, and there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents that. In fact, if we start having the courts and the executive branch decide how dollars get spent, that's not constitutional. That's the problem we have here.
Who's gotten to define what is a common school? I mean, if anything, I would call our current public school system uncommon because it's so horrific and awful.
Yeah.
So definitionally, I disagree. I think we should fund schools that actually accomplish educating children.
Well, not only is that a good thought, but that's a constitutional idea, because in our Constitution it also says that the legislature is supposed to fund an efficient system of public education. And around the country, we see charter schools doing a better job of educating kids with half the dollars that traditional schools have. And so our argument is this also fits the constitutional requirement of an effective, efficient school system for Kentucky.
And so they, the legislature passed this law saying, hey, look, we're going to fund charter schools. How are they going to fund them?
So this would be, public charter schools would be funded by state SEEK dollars and by whatever else the legislature may decide in the future. But right now, that would be primarily how they would be funded. So right now, every student in Kentucky has a certain number of dollars that follow them. So wherever they go, those dollars follow them. If they go to another public school district, if they're accepted there, or if we have charter schools, they go to a charter school, those dollars follow them there. And the superintendents are worried that this is a foot in the door. This is the camel's nose under the tent. They know that every state that once they've gotten charter schools has pushed for more options. Parents have wanted more options, not less. And so they know that this means if we get this done, that we're going to have I think the legislature will step up and strengthen the charter school law and expand school choice, because once we have that court ruling, it'll open the door for more options.
So they look at charter schools and say, look, that's kind of a gateway drug into full school choice. And we don't want that.
But they don't have good arguments. They don't have good arguments. They don't have good arguments for doing public education in an innovative way. By the way, also, we have lots of schools now that are not considered common schools according to the liberal Judge Philip Shepard's definition of a common school, which is what he made his ruling based on, was that charter schools aren't common schools. That's not even the argument here, but that's what he did. But we've got the Gatton Academy, we've got the Craft Academy, we've got magnet schools, we've got the Kentucky School for the Deaf, Kentucky School for the Blind. None of those fit the definition of a common school that the judge had in his ruling. So,
what was that definition?
Well, the definition is that it's a public school, traditional public school. These are not traditional public schools. Is it kind of like I know
it when I see it kind of thing? Or
he was really going with the other side's argument on this. But here's the interesting thing, too. We've had other lawsuits on non-public school choice, and they made the same arguments. These aren't common schools. So what they're saying is we can't have any kind of different education system than what we have now. We can't do anything different, no matter how many kids it's failing, no matter how it's not working. We can't, no matter how much it's costing, no matter how much the cost has increased, we can't do anything different. That's nonsense. That's just wrong.
And Kentuckians are really feeling, I think, the cost of the failed school choice amendment, and we've talked about it on the show already today, and I will beat this point till it's blue in the face, and yell about it till I'm blue in the face, that loss there was simply because the media was able to dominate this leftist message. They were clearly in the tank for it. They were clearly against it, and they were able to push those beliefs, something that has to be fought back against. That's what we're trying to do at Kentucky's Voice, offer a real conservative alternative to this liberal media bias. And you can join in with us. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. You can also visit, if you're at your computer or you just want to go right to the link, you can go to kyvoice.org, hit that give link and hit the give button and go ahead and donate some money so that way we can make sure we're fighting for these issues. Because I think looking at our results in our public schools across the board, I mean, right now there are so many people facing tax increases across the state. I mean, here in Jefferson County, they applauded themselves. They said, look, we are cutting your taxes. We're going to cut the tax rate. So we're cutting your taxes, ignoring the fact that property values had went up so much that even with the cut they made, they were still raising your taxes 4%.
That's just the latest and greatest. Remember, this is a school board that raised taxes during the pandemic when schools were closed. It's just, you can't make this up.
Well, Jim, they just didn't have enough
Make
money.
this up.
The federal government was only giving them a bunch.
And then when the parents demanded the schools reopen and the CDC said it was safe, they still didn't reopen the schools because the teachers unions who support their candidacies, who we talk about here, not many other media outlets do here in Kentucky about the impact of the teachers unions, but you would know that if you listen to this program, how much they support these school board members for their reelection efforts.
Well, not only are teachers unions getting involved in those fights, but this past election cycle, the teachers union here in Louisville was getting involved in Republican primaries. I think that's another great reason why, supporting us here at Kentucky's Voice will help us have a better state and partnering with us and joining into the fight here. And you can do that by texting the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. You can also visit kyvoice.org. But we are seeing typically liberal Democrat groups like the teachers unions getting involved in Republican primaries because they see that the state is shifting Republican. They can't stay in their lane. And so they're going to try to get liberals running with a Republican moniker next to them to run and change the conversation. And if nobody's calling them out, Jim, if nobody's pointing it out, what's going to happen?
That may be an even more important reason for this project, because not everybody who says they're Republicans are conservative necessarily, and we need to be able to expose who is a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will, in the party too, who's just trying to get elected running as a Republican. I mean, we've had Republicans who have opposed educational freedom for parents. That's not a Republican point of view, but they know they can't win, in any other way. When we started talking about this issue, Andrew, back when the Bluegrass Institute started 23 years ago, we couldn't get anybody to pay attention to this. And now it has dominated the front pages and it's dominated the newscast. So that's another reason we need to be in there pushing, and we need the resources. It forces the liberal media to actually cover stories that they wouldn't otherwise cover. So you can help do that today.
And we've seen that time and time again, that stories here that either we've discovered, we've talked about here first. Even as I'm coming in to do my show, I do a show here about once a week. I do a show on 970 once a week, in addition, called The Andrew Cooperrider Show. Yeah. And in prep work for those shows, I will discover things that no media is talking about. I'll be going on the LRC's website. I'll be going on to government websites, looking at budgets, looking at numbers. They're not talking about it. Then they see us covering it. Then they see the posts about it. They see that people care about it, and they're forced to cover it themselves.
But you can hear it here first.
You can hear it here first.
But we've got to be on the air. We've got to have the resources to do it.
And I want to make sure that everybody's hearing about the kinds of things we're covering without just having to come across it in a social media post. Because if they're living out Western or Eastern Kentucky, they really need to be getting this information, and we can reach them with your help. Make sure you're texting the word GIVE. GIVE 502-571-0970. We've got 30 seconds to a break here. This is a great time for you over this commercial break to crack open that wallet, pull out the old plastic, text the word GIVE GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can also visit kyvoice.org. Make a donation. Make a one-time donation of $10, $20, $1,000. Make it monthly. Anything you can do to help. Great opportunity over this ad break. We'll be back in a few short minutes.
Kentucky's Voice is your home for real news, real people, and real answers. But we can't do it without you. Your financial support helps us bring truth to the forefront, hold leaders accountable, and give a voice to the people of the Commonwealth. Join the fight today. Give online at kyvoice.org or text KYVoice to 53555. Every gift makes a difference. Stand with us. Speak up. Stay strong. You are Kentucky's voice.
Back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
The We the People Fall fundraiser is going on now. Learn how you can partner with us this week live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. Together, we will stand for faith, family, freedom, and the Kentucky way. Do not miss it.
And welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. Andrew Cooperrider, your host, along with Jim Waters today. Yeah. It's the Fall Fundraiser. Jim, tell them what that means.
So excited about the opportunity to invest in a conservative statewide media outlet here that covers news from a conservative, common sense, Christian point of view, and statewide media outlet here that covers news from a conservative, common sense, Christian point of view. And we want your help. 502-571-0970. This is your opportunity to partner with us.
Let me ask you this. I want to ask the viewers a question, okay? Because we're talking about tax-deductible donations. You can do that by texting the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can also visit kyvoice.org. Who do you think would do a better job with your money? Who do you think would deliver a better, more informed populace, a better world for you to live in? Writing a check to the IRS, to the federal government, to, I don't know, fund your own demise, or you could give to worthy causes like this one right here that's trying to inform people so that way we can start electing people that don't want to ruin your life with your tax dollars.
At the very least, you could write a smaller check.
At least a smaller check. That's right. I'm not saying
we're not saying don't pay your tax.
This is tax avoidance, not tax evasion.
But Andrew, this is a great opportunity here This is a unique project. Most of the media in Kentucky is owned by corporations and is corporate media. And it's a lot of times it's not just how they're covering things, but what they're not covering, what they're not paying. And you talked about this in the last segment about in your show prep coming across issues even involving our school districts that aren't really being covered. Sometimes they're they seem too complicated, I think, to media to understand. But you have done a great job of breaking that down. And once you do that, then everybody wants to get on board. But you can hear that here. We've got the ability here to do that and to get that out.
I tell you what, Jim, I've got a few contacts in legacy media I talk to all the time. And especially when I come across issues that I think are really big deals, I'll reach out to them and say, hey, I'm going to cover this, but if you want to break it and cover it first, so that way I can get not just, the thousands of people. There are thousands of people that listen to us every day here, and my own show and social media has thousands of listeners, but not just those people, but we can reach it to an even broader audience. I'll let you break it, and then I'll just cover it on my show. And you know what they say to me, Jim? You know what they say?
I can only imagine.
They say, well, let me go ask my editor.
Yeah.
And they go to their editor, and they say, Mr. Editor, let me tell you about this issue going on.
Yeah.
And they'll say, does it make Republicans look bad? Well, no, it's just general corruption going on within our state that is a travesty. And they'll say, well, the thing is we're not going to cover that story. We're not going to talk about that because we don't think maybe our advertisers may not like it.
But, by doing this, we're going to force more coverage of these issues. This is going to force the media to do that. So if you'd like to be a part of that, this is also, I think, one of the results of Kentucky's Voice media outlet is going to force the left to pay attention to things they normally wouldn't or normally would ignore.
They're like, they walk around with blinders, like horses where they got blinders, they don't want to see anything out of the corner of their eye that might spook them. Yeah. So,
well, and sometimes it's just pure laziness, not wanting to dig into an issue for whatever reason. Maybe it's not enough time or whatever. But on this show, I went back and checked some of the issues we've talked about and things we've talked about on here, and we have had a lot of factual coverage of news information that people could get here first that they couldn't get elsewhere, and that matters.
Well, and it's certainly it is a process to dig into those things. It takes work, it takes effort. This is the kind of thing that individuals, truthfully, don't want to, I guess, in the legacy media, they don't want to do that kind of work. That's the thing here. We're passionate about what we're doing. We're not doing it. I mean, I mentioned this on Monday. It's an hour and a half drive for me to get here, hour and a half back. And, full disclosure, I do this out of the kindness of my heart because we believe in what we're doing that much.
Yeah. And by the way, the folks, usually I am hosting this show on Wednesdays, and the folks I hear from, I want to hear from you today. I want to hear from you. I hear folks weighing in on the issues that we're talking about, responding on our text line. It's the same number to give. Text GIVE to 502-571-0970. Let me hear from you today. It's a Wednesday. It's hump day, just like we always do here on Kentucky's Voice. And here's a great opportunity for you to partner with us. Do it right now. Do it now so we can have the resources we need to keep talking about and covering these issues, like how much money Fayette County School Board is hiding or doesn't even know
I don't know
they've lost.
Big arguments breaking out right now in Fayette County Public Schools that it's interesting to me. So the citizens within Fayette County, these are citizens I talk to all the time. They reach out to me, they talk to me, and they realized that the school was lying in their budget, that they were really missing $10 million more than they were saying.
Yeah, and Andrew, the school district put together a group of people, 30-some people, to decide how are we going to fill this $16 million budget hole, which is truly amazing. They have that kind of a budget hole in the first place with an $800 million budget in a school district with 45,000 kids, okay? But nevertheless, the group came up with all kinds of ideas, and one of their top ideas was use the money in the contingency fund to plug the gaps. Well, then, when we began looking at what was in there, apparently there's not enough to do that.
Well, and they lied about the amount that was in it. And now
Yep.
it's really $20 million less, it looks like.
And these are the people raising your taxes. These are the people determining what's going to happen with your hard-earned tax dollars if you live in that school district. Same thing happens in Jefferson County. And that's why this is so important, Kentucky's Voice, too, because of the transparency and accountability it can bring to these local government agencies. Very important.
The media loves to tell you, the Washington Post's tagline, right? Democracy dies in darkness.
Yeah, that's right.
But yet they're literally letting it die in darkness when they refuse to dig into and cover the kinds of stories that would inform the public on exactly what's going on.
But now, because folks like us are covering this, they're having to respond to this. That superintendent is on the hot seat. That board is on the hot seat. Taxpayers are speaking out. Even some of the board members are speaking out.
Well, and what's dark there is that when you start going into that contingency fund, the board required a 6% of their budget be held back in a contingency fund. That's been violated. Money's been spent out of that without even seeking board approval by the superintendent. But the state requires a 2%. And what's interesting is when the citizens that are really looking into this, people like you and me and others are really digging into this and starting to see the money missing, what do we see? We see that when you get to the real amount, they've actually dropped about $1 million below the 2% requirement from the state.
Even with the state, right? Very low.
Requires. Now, Jim, what happens when you drop below the 2% contingency rate as a school?
Yeah. Well, you don't have much in savings, I'll say that.
Well, you don't have much in savings, and the state comes in and takes over the operation of the school district for a short while.
Yeah. And we saw that in Jefferson County. It wasn't because of the contingency fund, but it was because of many other issues, and of course the left was hollering and screaming about this, but yet what is it? I mean, where's the accountability? Where's the accountability for the board chair there in Lexington? Where's the accountability for the highly paid, overpaid superintendent? Who has his own driver? I understand, and he gets his own car allowance and
$1,500 a month car allowance.
He's getting close to $500,000 in compensation. Mm-hmm. As a superintendent of a school district that fails to educate over half of its students. In what other universe and what other kind of business and what other industry is more than 50% failure acceptable, much less giving that CEO a raise? I mean, how many CEOs would even have a job with that kind of job performance?
Well, and it's the blinders. It's that people so often they're not aware of it until it's boiled over to the point that it can no longer be ignored.
Right. Because
those who are actually digging in and watching these things, they're not getting the kinds of platforms that we here at Kentucky's Voice want to make sure they do get.
And one of our projects is to have citizen journalists, folks who pay attention, who show up at these meetings. And take their phones and tape them, video them, record them, so that we can use that and we can dig down on this and hold these. And a school board is a local government agency. Okay, so hold these government agencies accountable, make it transparent, so that it's not until everything spills over that people are finally speaking out, because by then it's often too late to really do anything about it.
Well, and Jim, earlier on I talked about my contacts within the legacy media going to their editors with stories and being told, no, you can't talk about that. You can't talk about that. It's interesting. We all here have direct lines that people can reach us, emails that we make fairly public for people can reach out, social media pages people can reach out. And when people send me things that need to be covered and dug into, I've never been told I'm not allowed to talk about that here. Have you ever been told to shut up, Jim?
And when I am is when I'm gone.
Yeah.
So, that's just the way it is. I mean, because this is important that we have the freedom and flexibility to drill down, even on controversial issues. We need to be able to, and we don't always agree on everything, in terms of different views,
Jim,
but that's what makes it interesting.
Jim, I don't like your hair. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I love it. I hope I have that kind of head.
Well,
I
hope to hear from folks about your hair here today. 502-571-0970. Text GIVE. It's a great four-letter word, GIVE, 502-571-0970.
That's right. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970, 571-0970. Text the word GIVE. You can also visit kyvoice.org. Stay with us here into the next hour. It's our fall fundraiser. That means we're pushing hard to go ahead and make sure that we continue the great work that we're doing here and expand it out with more citizen journalists, more debates, more coverage. And that's why we're going into this next hour as well, to make sure we get the message out there as loudly as we can. Hey, this is the time to support us. Text the word GIVE, 502-57. And welcome back on this second hour of Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host for the day, Andrew Cooperrider, joined by Jim Waters. It's the fall fundraiser. Yeah. This means it's time to give. It's time to help out what we're doing here because we want to expand our operations. We don't want to be stuck to just hearing from me and Jim all day long, not all day long, but during our normal hour from 11 to 12, we cover Kentucky politics. Right. We give commentary on the news. We do dig in and find news ourselves, but we want to expand that effort. We want the kind of journalists digging into the issues all around this state from a constitutional, from a conservative, from a Christian point of view. The fact of the matter is, no matter where you're getting your media from, it's coming with a spin. It's coming with a bent to it. And please tell me right now of a single news operation in Kentucky doing investigations, digging into stories all across the state, employing journalists that are bringing you stories from that perspective, that are bringing you the kinds of things that you will care about. I mean, you see posts sometimes on social media, I know I do, about various school districts. Maybe they have a teacher that is identifying as transgender and making the students follow the pronouns and refusing to respond to them. I can go into that a little bit more in a bit. But maybe that's something that's going on. And in doing that, the media is refusing to cover it. But that's the kind of thing where if citizens heard about it, if they knew about it, they would go ahead, jump in, and get involved. We need to be bringing that kind of journalism, and you can help support us do that right here at Kentucky's Voice. You can text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, GIVE, to the number 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can give online at kyvoice.org. That's right, give online at kyvoice.org. It's important you partner with us. It's important that you support what we're doing here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, recently we had a parent on here who filed an open records request with the Jefferson County Public Schools because they were going to give her daughter a mental health survey. And this was coming from a very left-wing company, very radical company that had that was known for its radical views, and she wanted a copy. As a parent, she simply wanted a copy of the survey, and they told her no. She's had to go to court. She's in federal court over this, trying to get because, and here's the excuse they used: it's copyrighted. It's copyrighted. So but how many people have really known about that? How many people have known about that here? How many people have heard from her?
I mean, I would imagine
if we hadn't been here,
I'd imagine that the media here is not covering those kinds of stories.
Well, we sent an op-ed to the Career Journal. I haven't heard from him a word about this. And they haven't printed it.
And not a single thing. And that's something that all parents should know about here in Louisville. That is the kinds of across the state, really. You need to be watching out for it. And that kind of information can get out there if we have your support. So please text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. I know, look, it gets annoying me asking you constantly over this time here and over the past few days. This is just our fall fundraiser. This isn't what we do all the time. We don't ask for your money all the time. We're not the annoying homeless people on the side of the road holding up a sign, change, please.
Both sides of the road.
Yeah. We'll work for food, and then when you offer them food, won't really do the work.
Right.
But that's not what's going on here at all. We're a nonprofit, just attempting to make sure we can continue our operations and, most importantly, expand them to give you the kinds of information that you need to see. You can go ahead and text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. You can give online at kyvoice.org. We'll be digging into a few different stories happening around Kentucky the rest of this hour as we go into our fall fundraiser. I know normally this is Charlie Kirk, but today you're getting Andrew Cooperrider and Jim Waters bringing you news out of Kentucky, and you can support what we're doing. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Give one time, give monthly, whatever you can give. We appreciate it. You can check us out too at kyvoice.org. We'll be back in a few short minutes to bring you some of the latest news going around Kentucky.
This is Kentucky's Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters.
And welcome back to Kentucky's Voice, cutting in on this hour of Charlie Kirk because it is our fall fundraiser. So make sure you are helping us do what we do here, achieve amazing results, of course, in the state. Give us a text. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. You can also give it kyvoice.org. Now, before the break, we were talking about this mental health screener. She's just fighting to be able to see what was given to her children. Yeah. What prompted them to give this to the child in the first place here in Louisville?
Well, who knows? I mean, this is just something the public education system does a lot of, Andrew. And the important thing there, too, I think, is that when somebody steps up like she did and is willing to even go to court to get this, that they have a voice speaking out for them. And by allowing her to come on, tell her story, her attorneys were on from the Liberty Justice Center, and we had an opportunity or from the Southeast Legal Foundation, we had an opportunity to really give her some cover, and to recognize her courage as a parent and in taking a stand for her child. So this is, and this is public information. But what's concerning here too is if I ask the school district for a survey or for curriculum and they tell me I can't have that because it's copyrighted, then that means they can give things to my kids at school that I can never see and that I have no say over. And that's definitely not right. And it's certainly not in the law. A couple of years ago, the legislature passed a law saying that curriculum development, that parents were to be at the table. Parents were to be involved in the development of curriculum and the decision about which curriculum to use. So where does that end if you say, well, this is copyrighted? And we're concerned that if they got by with this, that the school district could continue to do contracts with third parties. And as part of that contract, they would say, we're not going to, that this is copyrighted, that this belongs to them. So it's total misuse and abuse of the copyright laws. Anything that's in the public use like that is subject to open records laws in Kentucky anyhow. So this needs to be settled. It needs to be settled in favor of the parent. But what about in the future where parents make a request of school districts and they're denied? Who are they going to go to? Where's that story going to be told? Where's the full story going to be told if it's not on Kentucky's Voice? It's going to be told here.
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up because I saw another kind of a concerned citizen reach out to me telling me about this. Now, one thing we saw during COVID with the online schooling was parents started to get eyes on the pieces of homework and information handouts that they were being given from the schools, from the teachers. And this caused a fair parents to start asking some questions. And so schools apparently recognizing that, some schools here in Kentucky have started to use a homework system where they fill out and they do their work on the computer, but they don't want the parents to see the work exactly that they're doing. So once the kids complete the work and it gets submitted, it just disappears. You can't review it as a parent.
You know, two things would solve that. One is, of course, people knowing about it, which is what we're about here, and we're about exposing that type of nonsense, but also options for parents. If the school district knew that a parent had the option and was empowered to take their child and the dollars that follow them to a different school that will be accountable and will be transparent, it's amazing. It's like magic what would happen. It's like a few years ago at the Bluegrass Institute, we started a project called KentuckyVotes.org. No one had really paid attention to how many missed votes legislators had. And there were thousands of them. But after we started paying attention, guess what happened to the number of missed votes? It dropped dramatically because somebody was paying attention to it and somebody was holding them accountable, and it was more transparent.
Well, and I think another example of how the media can kind of stir up some pushback against things, there's this bill passed last session regarding teachers' ability to communicate with students without parental consent, essentially saying that, look, unless a parent signs a form allowing that teacher to communicate with them, otherwise, teachers have to use, and coaches and things, they have to use some other sort of application or service that then the parents are able to audit and see those communications. And what the media has pushed out there is talking about, well, you know, sometimes these teachers are the only students' line of communication. And I understand that and I hear that. But in the same time, they ignore another important story, a story that, I covered that literally no other media outlet other than one local newspaper where I reached out to the reporter to get the information from covered, and it happened in Greenup County, in kind of the northern Kentucky area, regarding he taught social studies and justice and criminal justice, and also was, I believe, the volleyball coach or tennis coach or something, and he was grooming. And this was investigated by KSP. What he would do is he'd pick out girls coming in as freshmen or sophomores in high school, and he would make them his special helper, and he'd communicate with them on social media and text them if he got their phone number directly, privately, without the parents knowing, and become their friends. And then the minute they turned 18, he was inviting them over to his house, which happened to be across the river in Ohio, but he would invite them over to his house. And so KSP came out, they investigated, and they said, while we see what he's doing, and is without a doubt he's doing it. He is grooming these young girls, these students. He's using his position as a teacher to go ahead and influence their behavior and be able to essentially, end up getting sex from these students. What he is doing isn't actually illegal, because it's not illegal to groom a child in Kentucky. And that's part of what this law was about. But yet.
But what if people didn't know about this? What if people didn't know this was going on? What if there was no exposure of this? And that's another reason why this is so important. And certainly it should be illegal too, but the fact, when people find out about it, that can do so much.
You're not seeing any of the legacy media around the state bringing up that story. They'll run the stories about, this teacher needs to be able to communicate with students secretly for some reason, but they won't bring up all the cases where it's the opposite has happened, that they have abused this in order to groom children, maybe into beliefs that go against their parents, or also sexually grooming children.
Yeah. Well, and I can't think of a better reason why this project is needed than that. I mean, we need to be able to have a big microphone here in Kentucky, and you can help us with that, create a big microphone. We need citizen journalists across the state. We need people who in their communities, when this kind of stuff is going on, this kind of nonsense is happening, that will know about it, and we can get this on the air. We can let people know. We can warn parents about this. You know, I think in some cases, parents may not even know everything going on, but they can hear it. They can be exposed to it here, conservatives, and we can demand change in our legislature if that's what's needed. But if people don't know what's happening, then it's much harder to build that momentum to do that.
I mean, the national media was never going to go into school libraries and look to see exactly what kind of books kids could pull out. And it wasn't until parents, citizens, started moving in to hold schools accountable and look at what actually their kids have exposure to, that this fight, this issue started to come about. And now you see parents all over talking about these issues, and yet still the media won't cover it, even just from an interesting point. Look, a large chunk of the population disagrees with this. Their tax dollars are being spent on it. That deserves some airtime. They won't give it.
Or they dismiss it. They're very dismissive of it, or they marginalize people that are willing to speak out. We've seen that happen. This one parent who filed the open records request for the mental health survey her daughter was being given had also spoken out about books and other items that were available to kids. And the school board, they held a hearing, but they weren't really serious about hearing from her or doing anything about it. And they weren't being pushed to do anything about it. And sometimes it requires a push. And that's where we can partner together to push for the right things.
Absolutely. It's about making sure that Kentuckians receive a platform to receive information, but also that Kentucky citizens, when they find these kinds of issues and they're being turned down by, their op-eds aren't getting published by the Courier-Journal, local media is not interested in covering the story at all, it gives them a platform to kind of be able to reach out to. And that's the kind of thing we're building here.
Their voice is our voice is their voice. Here.
That's right.
Kentucky's
and you can help by going ahead and texting the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, GIVE, to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. 0970. You can also visit kyvoice.org. This is our fall fundraiser, We the People fundraiser. This is a nonprofit. Your donations are tax deductible. That means, hey, look, you're not going to see the same size tax bills you would if you go ahead and crack open that wallet and donate to us. We need one-time donations. We need monthly donations. Just text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. Make your pledge today. Say, hey, look, I believe that we do need a conservative media outlet across the state, focusing statewide, and that needs to not be tied to any kind of corporate interest. It needs to be tied to the people's interest.
Needs to be independent, right?
Exactly. And I want to help fund that. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. We'll be back in a few short minutes.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
This is Kentucky's Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters. Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues.
And you're back here on Kentucky's Voice. We're cutting into the Charlie Kirk Hour there on the radio because, well, what we're doing today is pretty important. You see, building a conservative platform to cover statewide politics in order to cover the kind of stories that local news media won't, that matter to you, Christian conservatives that are listening right now. And you can support us in doing it. And you can text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Over the break, we've had an anonymous donor go ahead and let us know, say, hey, look, over your next segment, we've got 9 minutes over this next segment, 9 minutes. Over the next segment you have there, I will match any one-time donations up to $500. So he's willing, or she is willing to donate up to $500, matching whatever you all give over the next 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 43, 42, 41. So please pull out your wallets, pull out the card, pull over to the side of the road if you're driving. Stop what you're doing if you're at work. Pull out the wallet. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, 502-571-0970. You can give online at kyvoice.org. Once again, that's kyvoice.org. You can give online, and your donation over the next now 8 minutes and 15 seconds will make a huge, a double impact, up to $500. So if you want to be that person who comes in and says, okay, I'll match that man's $500 or woman's $500 with my own $500, you're making double the impact. You're donating $1,000 basically to us, and we appreciate that work. But if you can only give 20, 50, 100 one time, you're like, hey, I can give $10 one time. That's what I can spare. I can give $150 one time. That's what I can spare. That will have double impact. So 150 means 300, 200 means 400. And you can help us accomplish this and take advantage of this anonymous donor's offer by going ahead and texting the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. You can also visit kyvoice.org. Jim, tell them what they're getting for their money.
Well, they're getting news coverage, analysis, opinion from a conservative, common sense, Christian-based point of view. We're not trying to hide that. We're very open about that. You know, everybody has a bias.
Everybody does.
But if you want to be able to consistently turn on your radio, turn on your television, and get Kentucky information, news, opinion, analysis from a conservative-based point of view, then this is what we're doing, and we're very open about that. And this is the only place you're going to get it in Kentucky on a consistent basis every day. You know you're going to turn it on and get that. So this is your opportunity to help us. We've got the matching gift. Let's do it. Let's make your dollars count double.
They've got 6 minutes and 36 seconds left. 6 minutes, 34. 33, 6 minutes left, essentially, y'all, to crack open that wallet and help make double the impact with your money by donating. You can text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. You can give online at kyvoice.org. This isn't what we always do. We normally have a show called Kentucky's Voice here from 11 to 12 every Monday through Friday right here on 970 and also on WBNA 21.
It's live on the radio from 11 to noon. Then it's you can catch it on TV 12:30, 4, and maybe some other times 8 maybe.
They may replay several times. It depends on how good we do, right?
Right.
But it helps get that news out there. That's really what you're supporting. You're making double the impact. If you're giving that one-time money right now, you can give 20, 50, 150. You give 1,000. Now, if you give 1,000, only 500 of your 1,000 is matched. So if you give 1,000, your impact's 1,500. But if you give 500, your impact is 1,000. Crack open that wallet, make that donation. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. 502-571-0970. Visit kyvoice.org. You got about 5 minutes left to make double the impact with your donation. So please hurry and get this done.
Yeah, we're thankful for those who've supported throughout this project. We started on the radio, and now we've expanded to television. That takes resources to do it. And if we have, there's no limit here, Andrew, to what we can do with this project if we have the resources to do it. There's no limit. So this is a great opportunity. I don't want people to feel like there's something they have to do. But if you want this available, somebody has to step up and do it. So that's what we're talking about. But the potential for this is unlimited. We can do debates with candidates. You can be sure that the right questions get asked, for example. How many times have you listened to a debate with political candidates and the left-leaning moderator or journalist refuse to ask the questions that conservatives want to hear or talk about the issues they want to hear? Well, in this case, you'll have that. You'll have that available.
Well, Jim, we've got about 4 minutes left for that double impact donation, where if you give one time up to $500, it will be matched by an anonymous donor. You can go ahead and text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. You can give online at kyvoice.org. Once again, that's kyvoice.org. And, people donate to politicians all the time, and I understand that, and I believe in supporting candidates that we want to see win office financially. But the point is they take those thousands, millions of dollars and have to try to build an apparatus to reach people, especially if they're conservatives, because they know that the legacy media isn't going to be covering them in a great light. We've seen that with Trump. We see that with all kinds of conservative candidates not being covered in a good light at all, not the kind of light they share for the liberals. And they spend those millions of dollars building up those media apparatuses. But here at Kentucky's Voice, by just sharing the truth about information, that's what can lead to more of these conservative office holders being elected. They're not going to have to raise necessarily millions every time,
right.
Because the importance and the truth about what's going on is getting out there. And that's why you can help by texting the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can give online, kyvoice.org. That doubler to match up to $500 in donations is going on only for the next 2 minutes and 44 seconds. So no matter what you're doing right now, it's the time to stop and make sure you're making that donation if you want to make double the impact. I mean, we'll always take your money, but right now is a great time to make double the impact.
We're making it possible for these candidates to run and win. And I look at your giving as kind of in total, not just for a candidate. You need to give to good candidates, but you also need to help us make sure that their message is unfiltered, that it gets out in that it has that it's the right approach, the right coverage, the right angle. And so it's a comprehensive effort. Your dollars for our media project here will make it possible for us to cover these conservative candidates. And, we're beginning to make a difference. The Louisville Metro Council, believe it or not, is really close to flipping to Republican. I mean, they're within just a couple of members, I think, changing in order to become a Republican council, who would have thought in Louisville just a few years ago. So it's not a coincidence that we've been here talking about these issues. We've been giving them a voice on this program. We've had many of the council members on here, and they've been able to make their case.
Well, we've got about a minute, 30 seconds left in the segment, and that's a great point of how your donation can make an impact. And right now it can make double the impact as anonymous donor matching one-time donations. You can give $20, $30, $1,000, $500, and they'll match that donation up to $500. Only, though, over the next minute, 1 minute. So stop right now. Pull out your phone. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. Make double the impact right now. Visit kyvoice.org as well. These are tax-deductible donations to the nonprofit. Kentucky's Voices is a We the People fall fundraiser. We have an anonymous donor willing to match donations. So please get your donation in right now. 30 seconds left to go ahead and do that. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502 571-0970. You can also visit kyvoice.org. Get your pledges in. We got 10 seconds left for you to get that in and get matched. Do it right now. Do it immediately. Let's get this taken.
This is Kentucky's Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters.
Hey, you're on Kentucky's Voice. And that's me, Jim Waters, here on Hump Day. Thanks for joining us here on Kentucky's Voice. But today it's a We the People fundraiser, and we're thankful to Daniel for his $250 donation. We've got others on the line right now, others who are giving, and we're checking with our anonymous donor to see if they may extend this offer to do a matching gift. So get your gift in now. Text GIVE, G-I-V. It's a great 4-letter word to 502-571-0970, or you can go to kyvoice.org and give. But do it now. You know, if you don't do it now, you won't do it. You won't do it. It's time to do it now. Don't procrastinate and don't be apathetic. Those are the two biggest enemies we have, I think, in conservatism a lot of times, whether it's getting people out to vote or whether it's getting people engaged in the process, engaged in giving, engaged in making sure that this movement goes on. You know, we have some great opportunities here. We have a Republican president. We have some good things happening here in our state. We have a supermajority Republican legislature, but there's still a lot of work to do. We've got a Metro Council that's still left here, and we need to see that change. But how's that going to change if people don't know what's happening, if they don't know what the issues are? And that's what this is about. Your gift will make it possible for us to make sure that the city of Louisville, the state of Kentucky, has a strong, consistent, conservative, common sense, Christian-based media viewpoint. We have so many assets in place to do this. We just need you. We need you to partner with us. It's your project too. Kentucky's Voice. It's not our voice. We named it Kentucky's Voice because it's your voice too. It's all of us together in this together. So we need you to step up. Text GIVE to 502-571-0970. How hard is that, Andrew Cooper? That's not that hard. Anybody can do that. GIVE, G-I-V-E, 502-571-0970.
And if they can't do that, they can always visit kyvoice.org. Once again, that's kyvoice.org. Go ahead and donate. Like we said, thank you to Daniel for the $250. That is being matched. That's a $500 impact there. We've got some other donors on the line donating right now. So we'll clear that up. But if you want to join in and join people like Daniel in supporting what we're doing here, go ahead and text the word give once again to 502-571-0970. And I want to bring you an example for why growing this media reach and media influence is so important. And I pulled up this. This is an interview that the Herald Leader did with Mitch McConnell here recently. And a perfect example of why having the kinds of reporters and question askers that are well informed on conservative issues and what's going on within conservative elections all around the state. Because I want to give you this question here. He says, the Herald Leader asked him, President Trump wants U.S. Representative Thomas Massie gone. Do you agree with the President Trump that Thomas Massie should be primaried? Mitch McConnell responded to that by saying, look, my own view about the leader job, whether you're the president or the leader of one of the parties, is the Ronald Reagan quote that I thought made the most sense. He had what he called the 11th commandment, do not speak ill of another Republican. So that's the way I've tried to conduct my career. That's an interesting statement. If you were an informed conservative on the issues within the state, you might follow up with that and say, well, Mitch McConnell, that viewpoint of saying don't speak ill of a fellow Republican, you say that now, but have you not funded through your PACs that you fund dollars into, your campaigns that you fund dollars into, campaigns that do attack and do speak ill of other Republicans?
I think that's another reason why this media outlet is so important, because we cover the whole story. You know, we've talked on this show about Mitch McConnell's legacy in terms of the Supreme Court, very positive legacy. But at the same time, we have to be independent. We have to be willing to be balanced in our coverage. And I think that's something else we don't see a lot of times, Andrew, in the corporate media, is that balance there. You know, being willing to ask the tough questions, as you said, follow up with questions. And I was going to say, by the way, on that 11th commandment, Reagan was right if you take it in its purest sense, because is that person really a Republican? You know, are they really speaking ill of another Republican, or is it just a Republican in name only, right? And so you have true Republicans, and then you have Republicans in name only. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Thomas Massie, Congressman Massie, for the stand he's taken. You know, one of the first votes he made as a freshman congressman was to vote against the current speaker at that time, because he didn't feel like they were representing the conservative values that he believed in. So that's the kind of people we need up there, and we need fair coverage. We need to tell the whole story, you know, and that's something else we can do here is really give the complete picture, as you said there, and pointing out
not
what
just trying
should
to
follow-up
grab
pictures be.
the catchy headlines. I mean, obviously there's nuance to all the stories. You know, I don't agree with Thomas Massie all the time. All the time, I don't.
But complete story, complete coverage.
Exactly.
Telling the whole story. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, for
Telling
an
the whole
example,
story.
you can agree with the fact that President Trump bombed the nuclear sites in Iran. You can agree with that and say that was the correct move to make. And you can disagree with the fact that Thomas Massie, filed a war powers resolution to stop the president from doing that. And you can disagree with that. However, what you can't do is say that, well, that's just because he hates Trump, because that isn't true. In fact,
Not true.
His first year in Congress,
Right.
he filed the same exact resolution against Obama for bombing Egypt. He's filed the same resolution against Joe Biden for bombing in Syria. That is something you have to know.
It's a good point, and I think it's worth mentioning here that we're not here just to focus on the headlines. We're here to actually give you what's happening. We want well-informed conservatives. You know, the worst thing in the world is a shallow conservative, you know, because they don't know what they believe. They don't know why they stand where they do or why they're there. And so that's another, I think, reason to support and invest in this project is we want educated voters. We want educated citizens. We want well-informed, fully informed. Full balance here, fully. And I'm going to say that. We don't have to, and you said as well, you might not agree with Congressman Massie on everything. You might not agree. You might agree with Senator McConnell on some things and not other things. But why? I think being able to give an answer to why. You know, spiritually, we consider that to be very important. You need to give a reason for why you believe what you believe, you know, and too many Christians cannot do that. I think too many citizens cannot give a reason. Conservative citizens cannot give a reason for why they believe what they do and why they're conservative.
Well, and we see too with the media coverage of understanding the nuance to the situations, and I think it really rears its ugly head when you look at, for lack of a better term, the Thomas Massey primary that you're going to see will be a microcosm of misleading information. You know, you'll see things like, well, Thomas Massey voted for the spending bills under Biden, but he doesn't under Trump, and it's because he hates Trump. And it's like, well, first off, that isn't accurate. Thomas Massey has never voted for any spending bill. The only time he did vote for raising the debt ceiling was when it came with a guarantee from the current speaker of a 1% decrease in the budget in the future. So he was voting for a budget cut in his mind at the time. They ended up reneging on that after they got it past him because he was on the Rules Committee. But that important pieces of information of knowing there is a nuance to that, because they will take these bills, they do this at the state level, they do it at this national level, they throw all kinds of things into it. Now, you can disagree with a representative and say, overall, I think the One Big Beautiful bill was a good bill, or I think it was a bad bill overall. But don't miss when they vote no on something, just because they had a line at the bottom that said also all puppies will get one pet. Yeah. Every puppy will get a pet, a scratch on the head. Yeah. But the rest of the bill spends $2 trillion. They sit there and they say, well, I voted no. They say, well, they hate puppies.
It's also important to follow up and say, Congressman Massey made this agreement, he made this compromise, but they reneged on it. There needs to be a voice there saying this was not honored. This promise was not kept. And people need to know that and then vote accordingly.
Well, and when you relate it back to our own state, I mean, they will pass the 2-year budget bill as one bill. Since Republicans grabbed office from Democrats, got full control of the budget, starting in 2017. Starting in 2017 is when, in 2016, with Trump on the ballot, he was able to deliver us a majority in the Kentucky House. In 2017, they got full control. Since then, adjusted for inflation, Republicans are actually in this state spending over 20% more, adjusted for inflation, the Democrats were when they had a compromise with Democrats on the budget. And those are things you got to hold people accountable for.
On the other hand, Republicans have saved more. We've got a stronger reserve trust fund than we've ever had. We're cutting the income tax rate. Some of that spending is because we have more revenues than we had when Democrats were here. So I think
Jim, I disagree with you. Give it back to me now. Give me my money, Jim.
My point is, they are. They're cutting your tax rates. That's what they're doing.
Slowly. Come on now.
That's what Indiana did. And they're
question, Jim, though. And this is the kind of coverage you're supporting, okay? Because you're going to hear a little bit of a disagreement. We don't always agree. Jim, the government can't make more revenue without taxing me more. So they may be cutting my taxes
That's actually not true. We can talk about that. There's another way government can create revenue.
Which is?
That's by growth.
Sure.
Okay.
By growing, but we haven't grown citizens.
We've grown our revenues and we've grown our economic competitiveness here, which does matter. I agree, though. I think the way we're doing the tax cuts, for example, ties spending to that, because revenues have to be a certain level above spending in order for the politicians to get the benefit of a tax break, of going around saying we supported a tax cut. So there's a lot more to the story is what I'm saying, and I think it's important we have a media voice that can cover that.
Well, and I think that's important there. You just kind of saw it. Well, disagreement going on. But you won't see that at all argued out or discussed from a conservative point of view anywhere else. That's why you should give today.
I'm saying how government creates revenue is not just by raising taxes, but also when our economy grows, government benefits. That's the point. So you can still cut taxes and have more revenue. Now, spending should be controlled. It always has to be controlled. And we still spend too much. I agree with that.
Important conversations. Yeah. Make sure you're texting the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. Hear the kind of debates and conversations just like that you're not going to get anywhere else. You can visit kyvoice.org. Give one time, give many times. We'll be back in a few short minutes.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise. Speak up and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment.
And welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. It's our fall fundraiser. We the People fundraiser here. I'm your host for the day, Andrew Cooper Ryder, joined by Jim Waters, of course, and we are having this fundraiser together. We're playing off each other. We're talking to each other.
We the people.
That's
what this is about.
We've had. We mentioned before the break that some people were on the lines, kind of clearing up some things. We have a one-time donation from Deborah, $55. Thank you so much. Bruce, $25. Thank you so much. Charles, $25. Thank you so much. We mentioned that $250 one time came in, and those were double impact donations. They were able to double the amount of money that they put in. We went ahead and we talked to our anonymous donor. We said, look, this is the impact you were able to make. Could we get $500 more from you? And he said, look, Coop, you're breaking my leg here. You're breaking my leg. But in this final segment, I will match some of the donations that come in up to $500. So we do have a doubler in this final segment. And Jim, how can they donate to us?
Well, we need somebody to get $29 a month. Just sign up monthly. You can do it monthly.
You can sign up to do a monthly donation.
And you can text GIVE to 502-571-0970 or go to kyvoice.org and give. Give directly there. But whatever you do, do it right now. Don't let apathy or procrastination be the enemy. We can all agree on that, right? Don't let those be the enemies today. Step up and do it right now. While we have a few minutes left in this final segment of our Kentucky's Voice Fall Fundraiser, like Andrew said earlier, we don't do this all the time. We do it twice a year, but we have to in order to make sure that we're here every day throughout the year, bringing you conservative, common sense, Christian-based media coverage, news coverage, and analysis. 502-571-0970. Text GIVE. Real easy, G-I-V-E. Even if you went to Kentucky Public Schools, you can do that. G-I-V-E. 502-571-0970.
And we've got 5 minutes left on that doubler. This segment's actually 10 minutes and 45 seconds long. Our anonymous donor said, okay, I'll give you 5 more minutes. So we've got 5 minutes left for that. And you can give by texting the word give, G-I-V-E, as you just said, Jim, to 502-571-0970. You can visit kyvoice.org. Give one time, give monthly, making double the impact for the next 5 minutes. We were able to wring that out of them. And I hope some of you are able to stop, open up your wallets, make the call, make the text, go ahead, donate to what we're doing to deliver a Kentucky's voice, to deliver Kentucky news media to you that covers Kentucky issues. You hear all the time about national issues. You can make double the impact in making sure we build up our own media group here in Kentucky that represents conservative individuals, and you can do that. You've got about 4 minutes left. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. You can visit also kyvoice.org. You text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. We've got just a few minutes left. We've had an anonymous donor go ahead and donate $100 monthly, signing up for that $100 monthly donation. I thank you to that anonymous donor. You don't have to always give your name if you want to go ahead and make your donation, but we do appreciate being able to call you out and thank you for that during this double impact time. And we want to thank all the donors we've had today, being able to help push this forward. Like I said, I know it's
annoying. We're not done yet. You still got a few minutes to give to make that matching gift. Give us 502-571-0970. 3 minutes left on this match. Why not do it now? Why not make your gift count double? You could do a $50 gift right now and count for $100. You could do a $500 gift and count for $1,000. Right now, you can make a double your difference. Double the difference, double the impact, if you will. And so we need you to do that. Text GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. If you want to hear conservative, common sense, Christian-based media coverage, have a media outlet that you can turn to every day, that you can send your friends to. Maybe you need people that need to know and hear the conservative message. You can help make sure that's here. You can help make sure we're here to do that. Partner with us. It's Kentucky's voice. It's not my voice, just Andrew's voice. It's all of our voices. Kentucky's voice, 502-571-0970. Text GIVE, or if you're at your computer, go to kyvoice.org. You've got 2 minutes left on this matching gift right now. I want somebody to step up and give us $1,000 right now. Make it count big time here for Kentucky's voice for the rest of the year.
We got a minute left, Jim. And, frankly, of that match, not a minute left of the segment, but a minute left of the match. So make sure you're giving. Text the word GIVE, 502-571-0970. Visit kyvoice.org. I am tired of Republicans playing catch up. I'm tired of us having to catch up to the liberal groups. And I said this earlier. We have to play catch up so often because the nature of what we're doing, we want government to get out of people's lives to essentially do less. But because of that, those who profit off government taking money out of your pocket, they don't donate to groups like us. It relies on you, the people, who are tired of having to shell out your hard-earned money to the government every day. You got 30 seconds left for that match. Go ahead and text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. It's time to stop playing catch-up. It's time for us to stop losing in the media realm, and it's time we get our voice back here on Kentucky's Voice.
When public television lost government funding, they fall apart because nobody's going to give to an outlet that says we're going to raise your taxes and increase government interference and involvement in your life. And so you have an opportunity here to get government out of people's lives and to make that message a statewide message strong. 502-571-0970. Text GIVE, G-I-V. Very easy. We've made it as easy as we can for you. Now you need to step up and do your part today.
And I think that's a great example there, is that honestly, people individually are not going to give to organizations that want to take money out of your pocket. When you sit there and you wonder, how do these people bring in money, right? You have the Democrats so often, they promise all these things. You have so many politicians promising all these things, not delivering for the people. And you sit there and wonder, who's giving them money? How are they able to continue to control what's going on? And it deals with some very deep pocket, wealthy individuals fighting against your interests. Fighting against your interests in order to go ahead and grab control of the narrative because, as I said, They're using government for regulation carve-outs. They're using government for handout. Do you know how much our state government has given in cash to battery manufacturers over the past 2-3 years?
It's a great, it's a great example. Government should not be picking winners and losers.
$400 million dollars.
And you made a point about conservatives always being behind. Always being behind, always thinking somebody else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to do this. If you don't do it, it doesn't happen. That's quite frankly the truth here. And we want to do a lot more. We're doing an hour show on a daily basis, but there's potential to do a lot more here. There's potential to expand this show, and there's other great content on our network here.
That's right. We are working on other things. For an example, Friday nights here on WBNA 21, the TV station side of things, from 10 to 12, we have Late Night on the Right. I host that. I have a panelist of a few other, not politicians, not political people.
I met some of your co-hosts. They're not politicians.
They're not politicians. These are funny comedians, typically.
Right.
Working stages all around Kentucky, all around the nation.
Great idea.
And they come in and we cover news stories from a conservative perspective, but we kind of laugh at them because if you're not laughing, you would cry about them. That's a project we're working on. We also have other shows we carry. I know we have my own show that covers Kentucky politics called The Andrew Cooperrider Show. That's on Sundays at 6 p.m. and then also on Wednesdays on WBNA at 11.
And then you can hear all the national here, Charlie Kirk and all the big names that you've heard.
Steve Bannon's War Room.
Exactly.
That's covered on, we carry that as well.
So this is a national and state effort. It's a local effort. We're the only conservative news outlet in Kentucky. The only one that even claims that, which is amazing to me.
Well, and it's interesting too because there's a conservative talk radio station across the states that call themselves conservative, but so often they are really peddling. If anything, they're moderates. They are definitely not covering. You can even see that tepidness. They're afraid to be conservative. They're afraid to push the envelope there and put out a Christian conservative viewpoint. We're unabashed about that here. Yeah. We are conservatives. We are proud about it. If you are proud about being a conservative too, and you want the news and information that conservatives can bring you, watching what's going on here in Kentucky, you can join us by texting the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502-571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE to 502-571-0970. You can give online at kyvoice.org. Once again, give online at kyvoice.org. Normally, this is the Charlie Kirk Show. We carry it here.
If you wonder what's going on, right? Maybe you do listen to Charlie Kirk and you turn it on and hear us today. This is our We the People Fall Fundraiser. We do this twice a year in order to bring you every single day of the year, every weekday, 11 to noon. It's replayed on the weekends. Kentucky's Voice, the conservative Christian common sense media outlet statewide. We want to do way more than what we're doing now. But in order to do that, we need your help. We need your partnership. Step up today. Text GIVE to 502-571-0970 or go to kyvoice.org and give. And then text us and say, hey, I gave. I did my part.
And, mentioning those national shows, they are fantastic. I like a lot of them, not to knock them, but a lot of times you're hearing the same headlines talked by 5 different people, and maybe you get a unique insight, but they're covering the same news stories. That's what's different here about Kentucky's Voice. You're hearing news stories, you're hearing information that you don't actually hear anywhere else. You're not going to hear another host on the radio covering the same topics we cover here.
You're not going to hear a Louisville Metro Council member interviewed, probably somewhere else, about crime in Louisville and how we're going to reduce it. Or other media outlets are asking hard questions, quite frankly, of politicians, no matter what their stripe a lot of times. So you can hear it here. That's what makes us unique. We're Kentucky-focused, Kentucky-based, and we're here to provide you a conservative take on what's happening in your state.
We've got about a minute left here for you to get in your donations. I mean, you can always donate, but a minute left of us being on the air here where you can get called out, specially thanked for your donations. You don't have to listen to other media outlets in the state. You can listen to us right here, get the information you need, and you can support what we're doing by texting the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 502 571-0970. Once again, text the word GIVE.
Don't procrastinate.
GIVE to 502-571-0970. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Don't get to it tomorrow. Do it today. Do it right now. You can also visit kyvoice.org.
Do your part.
Once again, that's kyvoice.org. I'm Andrew Cooper-Edder, joined today by Jim Waters.
Good to see you all. Be
We're
with
here Monday through Friday from 11 to 12. Normally, it's just our fall fundraiser that you can help support. Text the word GIVE, GIVE, to 502-571-0970. GIVE, 502-571-0970. You can also check out kyvoice.org. We'll be back here tomorrow. Not we, but the show will be back here